So people have been asking about the camp that I'm at for families who raise their children basically without rules. That's not a particularly good way of putting it, but it's a very, very niche camp for a group of home educators who parent this way. So I just wanted to briefly explain how raising your children in this way works. It's what I've always done. My eldest is 12, so about 12 years. Although there was a period when Esme was probably up to around 2 when I was exploring it and finding out about it. I guess you never stop learning about it. Anyway, I'm going to explain based on jumping on a sofa analogy, and you can kind of apply this to a lot of things. So a rule would be no jumping on sofas. Generally, rules are convenience based and they're for the convenience of the adult and not the well-being of the child or wider society, because they're quick and easy to implement and the child just has to go along with it, whether they understand it or whether it's really good for their development or not. Something that I would do is have a boundary and say, for example, and it would be contextual, and this is where I think people really underestimate children's intelligence and how much they can understand and predict and perceive nuance. A boundary would be, hey, we've got a new sofa, so we're not going to jump on it because we've put a lot of money into it and we don't want it to break. However, we have that old sofa in the garage which you can jump on because it's not as precious and it doesn't matter actually if it gets broken. And alongside that, if there was a need for a child to jump and move around, then a parent doing this would then facilitate jumping in a different way. So maybe they'd pull some old sofa cushions off onto the floor, or maybe they would look around for trampoline lessons, or maybe they would just, tell the kid to go jump outside and go with them or something like that. Or maybe they would just empathise with the child and say, I'm really sorry, I know you want to jump, but we can't at the moment. Let's say you had an old sofa in your living room and so you did let your child jump on the sofa at home. Another boundary would be, hey, we're going to grandma's house today and grandma likes her house nice and neat, and also we don't want to jump on her sofa because we don't want footmarks on it, and grandma feels quite anxious about this sort of thing, and also we don't want to break her sofa. And so when we go to their house, it's no jumping on sofas. That is the difference between rules and boundaries, and it doesn't mean that children don't respect other people or etiquette. It just means that things are flexible according to the real world, basically, and according to the different contexts that we come across. And it is more effort for parents, I think, to do this because, as I said, rules are very convenient, but that is an analogy that I think pretty much sums it up. There is also other stuff like children having a lot more freedom over what they eat and when they sleep and how they spend their time. There is a crossover of gentle parenting in this, but this is gives a lot more autonomy to the child. So yeah, feel free to ask me any questions.